State your name,
Larry Estep.
and do you give your consent to be videotaped?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great. I have several questions for you. First of all, thanks for agreeing to be a subject for my interview.
Not a problem.
And my first question is what is your perception of social work?
Well, I think it's a very good thing because social work involves a lot of areas that people really need. So I've always have high regards for social workers.
What do you think social workers do?
Well, they help in many aspects. They go into schools, they can go into hospitals, but they sometimes hit upon the individual to help them in need and to straighten their lives out a little bit.
What do you think of social workers who do therapy?
Oh, I think that's fine. That's good if they're well qualified in that area. That's fine.
What's your feelings about therapy?
I like therapy because therapy is a broad spectrum, has a broad spectrum. It could be aromatherapy, psychological therapy, occupational therapy, all kinds of therapy that people need. And the question is need. So there's always this different kinds of therapy when people need something.
What do you think specifically about psychological therapy?
Again, if someone is in a need of that could be very helpful. So yes, I'm all for psychological therapy.
What role do you think social work plays in our greater society?
I believe that they do play a good part in our society because there's always a need to have someone needs to talk to somebody if they have problems or if they're just in an intangible situation where they just need a little bit of help. And it seems like in our society every day we need more and more help in some aspects. So a social worker is always there, whether it's in the school to help the children get through a troubled situation or the hospital where social workers come in and they assess the patient and see what their needs are. So I think a social worker has a big part in our society today.
Do you think social workers are valued by the greater society?
I don't think the greater society knows that much about them. They've heard a little bit about what they do, but they don't really understand all what they do, how hard they work and how underpaid they are. I don't really think they have enough information about them.
How would you like to see social workers better appreciated in society?
How would it be better appreciated? Well, I would like for them to be recognized for the work they do, whether through awards. They just need to be recognized more.
Okay.
No.
Wait a second. Yes, go ahead.
My name is Lawrence D. Miller.
Is it okay to videotape you?
Yes, it's perfectly all right.
Okay. I just have several questions. First of all, thanks for willing to be my subject. My first question is, what role does social work play in our society?
Well, it plays I think you'd say, a connecting role. Society has moved so quickly in certain fields that it leaves some people unable to cope with the problems that come up. So social workers able to get down and help people right where they live.
Do you think social workers are valued by society?
Oh, without doubt.
How would you like to see social workers better appreciated?
Well, perhaps a little more publicity. I can't remember seeing anything on TV or reading anything in newspapers like you do on other subjects or other careers. I can't remember seeing anything on the subject of social workers' careers and their involvement in society.
So you think social workers should do a better job of publicizing?
Somebody should, whether it's them or whether it's a government facility or whomever it might, or a private source.
Okay. What is your perception of social work?
Well, to be repetitive, perhaps living today is a very complicated thing. When you're talking about, for instance, a young family with many children and low income, and complex rules to follow in order to get the benefit of society the government provides. You have to have somebody that's there to help. And I think that's the role that social workers play, and I hope that they're able to do it.
What jobs do you think social workers do?
I think they help people understand what is confusing. I think they help people get the benefit of programs that state and federal government make available.
Okay, what do you think about therapy?
What do I think about what?
Therapy, like psychological therapy.
Oh, I'm sorry, therapy. Well, I think it has an important role to play. I think probably can be overdone, but therapy, assuming that the need has been established accurately, and it's not just a bunch of conversation. The therapy is important.
What do you think about social workers doing therapy?
I don't really think I'm qualified because obviously I'm not familiar with the total education program that you go through. So it's a question. I don't think I'm qualified to answer.
Okay, thank you. And what's your name?
Mary Miller.
And is it okay to videotape you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks. First of all, thanks for being one of my subjects. My first question is, what role does social work play in our society?
It's a vital program. It's a vital profession, and I think that it should be appreciated more. I don't think they get enough credit for what they do.
So you think that social workers aren't valued enough?
I do not think they are.
How would you like for them to be better appreciated?
Well, more different organizations cooperating with them in their program.
What is your perception of what social workers do?
It's a valuable profession, and they go into many different phases of mental problems and other things associated with the work that goes on every day.
What do you think about therapy?
Therapy is a valuable program, and it should be used, but it has to be used sparingly, in my opinion. Sometimes it's overworked.
What do you think about social workers who do therapy?
As I said before, I think they're a valuable profession, and they're very well needed.
Okay. If there was one thing you would do to help out the social work profession, what would it be?
Be recognized by more valuable organizations that are in that field, and it doesn't get the credit for things that they can do.
How do you think they help people?
They extend their lifestyle, and they help them understand the problems in the families and in a different workplace, and they do a valuable job.
Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Eric Estep, and I'm here to discuss the three speakers that you just watched in this video. I'm going to talk about some of the commonalities, some of the positive things, and some of the negative things. First of all, I think all three people were very positive about social work. They seem to really appreciate what social workers do. In particular, Larry Estep talked about how social workers help out in hospitals, in schools, and in private therapy. So she seemed to have a pretty good, decent base of knowledge of social workers and the ways in which social workers can help people. All three seem to see real value in social workers. They talked about how social workers help people and about how they fulfill a need in society. In particular, I thought that Larry Miller was quite eloquent in talking about that. So we have this core of support among three people that are favorably disposed to social work. Now, what could be wrong with that? Well, a couple things. One, I think that they thought that I got kind of a sense of vagueness from them. They were approving of social work, but they didn't really know the nuts and bolts and details, particularly Mary Miller. They just had kind of a vague idea that social workers do good things. Secondly, I think they also thought that we should do a better job as social workers to get the word out about what we do. I think they kind of felt that they don't hear enough about social work in the media or online, and they felt that social workers are kind of unsung. Now, I think those are very important things to consider because we're talking about people that are very supportive of social workers. We're not talking about people that dismiss the profession. And as a social worker, I take this quite seriously because I think we need to do a better job of explaining exactly what we do. I don't know if the profession as a whole has to move forward as, the NASW has to have a publicity campaign, or as individual social workers, we just have to be more confident and talk to people in general society about the value that we add. But there does seem to be, I did kind of learn that there's this kind of gap. They really like social work, but they didn't know exactly what we do. So I think that the number one thing I learned is to be more confident and to go out and don't be afraid to explain to people what social workers do and the value that they add to society. I think with these respondents, we had a good core base of support. We just need to add some more of the details and not be afraid to toot our own horn, as the old saying goes. Thank you, and I hope you found this video informative and enjoyable.